Brian Claypool joins us right now, civil rights attorney. Brian, a lot to get into here. Your thoughts?
Hey, Neil, great to be back with you. Hey, look, anytime you get sued for, what, a couple $100 million, if not more, for civil fraud, and you are risking being able to run a business in New York, there's a lot at stake. So putting aside any political arguments on either side, President Trump's legal team has to take this extremely serious because, as you said, there's no criminal charges yet. But Neil, what happens is when you trigger a civil case, that opens up a lot of mechanisms to do discovery. A lot more subpoenas are going to get issued, and like you said, a lot of financial data is going to be investigated, and more important, there's going to be depositions taken under oath, and that could lead to potential evidence that might bolster any type of criminal investigation.
We're told that they were looking at a settlement, Brian, that the Trump organization, maybe the former president himself, was pursuing this as recently a month ago. I don't know what fell apart or who made it fall apart, but what do you make of that?
You're referring to a settlement?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not aware of the settlement, but are you talking about the other case? There's another case that's supposed to be going to trial.
No, I'm sorry. To settle this or to try to solve this. I guess the reason why I ask is that, is this sort of etched in stone? In other words, is there still a possibility here? Because these are very tough things to prove, particularly when you get into the intricacies of a company, particularly a real estate company, where valuations can and often do change markedly, sometimes within a matter of days. Is it a tough thing to prove, period?
Yeah, that's a great point. I was just thinking about that. Think if you can imagine, for example, valuations of assets, right? Because that's really at the heart of this lawsuit. How much do you value a piece of property or another asset? I mean, in many respects, that's kind of subjective. I mean, think about it. When you buy real estate, you hire an appraiser that hopefully gives you something favorable to you, right, in the transaction. So that's pretty subjective. So the Attorney General is going to have more evidence than that, Neil, because as you allude to, proving fraud, the most important element of proving civil fraud is what's called intention to deceive. Intend to deceive. Think about that. That's a hard burden. You've got to show that somebody's knowingly making false statements. And if this boils down to, hey, I had an appraiser saying an asset's worth this, gee, it's not worth that, that doesn't amount to fraud. So the Attorney General is going to need more than that.
So where do you see all of this going? And would if Donald Trump wanted to run for president again, would even these charges stop that?
Yeah, the charges aren't going to stop that, but you raised another good point, which is resolution, right? This is a civil case, not a criminal case. So in a civil case, you can agree to a settlement, have somebody come in, for example, and mediate the case and agree to pay, for example, certain fines and certain penalties. So if I was Trump's legal team, I would certainly try to explore that. Why? Because of what you're talking to with the consequences related to running for president, for example. This is going to be another distraction. This is time consuming, Neil. I mean, as a trial lawyer, I'm telling you, cases like this are extremely time consuming, not only for the lawyers, but for the clients. And that takes away from Trump focusing on running for president. So his legal team is going to have to weigh what's the opportunity cost of fighting this case. That said, though, is the Attorney General going to be in a place where she wants to pursue a settlement? Maybe she really wants to take this to the mat because, Trump risks running a business in New York City. Not going to stop him from running for president. But if she's not willing to sit down and try to settle, then they're going to have to gear up for litigation. And it just doesn't look good for the optics if Trump is going to be running for president.
All right. So a dumb question, but you can help me with this. If you're indicted, regardless of whether it's a justifiable indictment or not, can you still run for political office?
Yeah, you can run for political office because an indictment means that you've been charged with an indictment for a crime. So here we're still at the civil stage, but make no mistake about it, Neil. We don't know whether this civil lawsuit is being used as a conduit to try to generate evidence that might lead to a criminal indictment, right? Because you can get a lot more discovery done in the civil forum that often leads then to potential criminal charges. But even with that said, an indictment is simply, hey, there's enough evidence to charge you with the crime. That's not even remotely close to having enough evidence to prove by or beyond a reasonable doubt that somebody's committed a crime. And Trump can still run for office. And think about it. I mean, these lawsuits, Neil, we haven't talked about this. They take a lot of time, right? They could take years and years. And even if you get indicted, criminal cases I've seen out here in LA County have gone on for 3-4 years before there's any kind of trial. So I don't think an indictment's going to risk Trump running for office.
All right, we'll watch it closely. Brian Claypool, a civil rights attorney, on all of that.